I'm Estelle Auberix. I'm an architect solution. Created IOKELA, which is an innovation digital agency. I'm very pleased to work in cloud, edge cloud for cloud, cybersecurity and IoT, and I'm passionate about robots, quantum computing. So I founded two communities, which is Curiosity, who the goal is to help people to pass IT certification. As a GFR is a French user group of Azure. In the AMS, I am not founder of this community, but I'm an organizer in this community, and we used to organize several events all around the world about Azure, Microsoft 365, and SharePoint. So I will be quick because the agenda is very, very heavy today. So I will make an introduction, present certification MB 910 and 920, and some tips to how to prepare your exams, so how to find the Microsoft offers, and some links to go further. So the quick introduction, there was an evolution of the Dynamics 365 fundamental certifications. At first, it was only one exam, which was MB 900. And then from last year, it was MB 901. The difference between the both exams, it's in the first one, we have a lot of Power Platform questions and subject. And in MB 901, that was more focused about Dynamics, because it was also the PL 900 Power Platform Fundamental. So the exam was split in two exams. And now the exam is going also to be split in other two exams, which will be MB 910 and MB 920. So 910 is for the CRM. So CRM is a customer relationship management. It's more focused for your commercial task force. If you want to know, it will be about your customer, the relation with your customer, the marketing, and how to increase your sales and your business. The exam about MB 920, it's about ERP. ERP means Enterprise Resource Planning. It's more about how to manage your company and everything in the administration of your company. So if you have a very small company, it will not be surprising if you do also CRM and ERP. But if you are in a big company, you will have the commercial service, which is going to take care about the CRM, and the administrative services like legal, like human resources, like management, which will be more focused on ERP. That's a big difference. So the certification, it's your the functionment is that you have to take an exam and then you get the certification. So now you will have to take two exams if you want to have the both certification. The evolution of the content, it was in MB that I previously said it about deployment. In MB 901, you will have artificial intelligence, mixed reality, and so on. And now in MB 901 and 920, you will be more focused on the function of your job. So 901 for the CRM, it's about the sales, the customer services, the field services, and the project operation. And 920 for the ERP, it's about the supply chain, but supply chain in the meaning of how to manage your supply chain, the finance, the commercial, and the human resource. So to describe the certification, the first certification of the CRM, you will see, it will have many ports which will have not the same heavy importance in the final notation. So for the marketing, it will take only 10 and 15% of the note. But it doesn't mean that in your exam you will have only 10 or 15% of question about this subject. So for the dynamics, you will have to be able to identify the marketing capabilities, the marketing apps, and how to create a campaign and how to use a customer voice. It's fundamental certification, so you will have to know how to do it and how does it function, but you won't have to fill a lab. You don't have to do it in reality during the exam. You will only have to answer questions. It's also it's only theoretical. So this is one example of question about the Dynamics 365 marketing. So this is an example of a multiple choice question answers of the question. So which two components are included in Dynamics 365 marketing? So each correct answer presents a complete solution, but don't worry, if you put a wrong answer, you won't have a negative point. So you will have 0 if your answer is wrong, but if your answer is right, you will get 1 point. So in the first one, so you have 4 choices: customer voices survey, customer service app, enterprise asset management, and event management. The right answers are customer voice survey and event management. Why? Because in Dynamics 365 marketing, the projects which are included, it's of course the core marketing, but also the event management, the customer voice, the Dynamics 365 connector for linking to link the Gen form. And second part, you will have also 15 or 20% question about sales. So it's about the life cycle of sales. How do you qualify your leads? How you can process your opportunity? How to cut your life cycle in your sales? And everything's related to the sales app. So it was in Sales Insight or Sales Navigator. A symbol of question about sales can be: a company use Dynamics 365 sales. You need to create a forecast in Dynamics 365 sales so that the sales director will be able to predict upcoming sales revenue. Which standard record type is used to create the forecast? So the right answer is the opportunity. And that's these are the kind of questions that you can have in your exam. Third part of the certification, it's about the customer services. So you can see that the part is pretty small for each one. So don't make an impasse. You can be stronger in one part of the exam. Maybe you can be very efficient in the customer services and not in marketing. But the goal of the fundamental certification are that you have a general culture of the project. And so because if you have this general culture, you will be able to have a global vision of the product and to be aware about what your colleague can do and what you can do by yourself. So for the customer service, you will have to describe the customer service component as the case, queue, and titles, the knowledge management, also the SLA's agreements. And also the omnichannel of customer services. I think that in this event you will have some session about customer service because it's a very big part of the Dynamics 365. And then the symbol of questions of this kind is not typically a multiple choice question. It's a select question. So you have to evaluate in Dynamics 365 as a potential replacement for your company. So what is the lead? To answer, select the appropriate option. So sometimes you can select several options, and some other time you can select only one option, so or two or three options. So if you're not sure, begin to eliminate the answers that you're sure that this answer are wrong, and then think about the rest of the answers that you get. So the Dynamics 365 sales lead is a potential. So you have 4 choices, which are customer to be qualified or disqualified, sales related to a product in the product catalog, sales that is always a product of a marketing campaign, sales that needs to be related of an existing customer record. So you will have to choose one, which is customer to be qualified or disqualified. In your exam, you also can point your question if you're not sure, and to come back again at the end of the question, because maybe you will need some time to think. So, the fourth part of this exam will be about the field services. The field services, it's about what you need on the field to make your business. So it can be about the retails, about sometimes on IoT if you need to follow the supply chain, even if you have a supply chain part in Dynamics 365. But it's the question in these exams are really focused about what you can use in order to increase or to manage your sales. You will be also, it's about the inventory and the asset management. It's really useful when you have a retail business. And the sample of question, this kind is also hotspot. So you will have to choose between several choices. So you have sales manager working for a paper manufacturer. So you need to create customer in Dynamics 365 sales and attach the customer contract to the customer record as a PDF file. Which record type should you use to answer? Select the appropriate option. So you will have the choice between lead account to store and track customer information, and how to attach your file in the activity. It will you attach it to the task, to the note, or as a phone call? So the answers are the stores and track customer accounts. You will it will be attached to the account and as a note. You can attach any file that you want as a note in your account. The fifth part of this exam is about the project operation. So you will have to be able to identify project operation capabilities such as contract, stage assignment, price, fixed price, and also the project sales capabilities. So you will have to describe the process for converting leads into a project. So this part is generally used by the lead of the commercial, and it could be a base for the task, the commercial task force, in order to use the same method for the same team. You also have to describe the planning and the resource management capabilities. A symbol of question about this part of the exam could I put that because it's different. It's a drag and drop question. So you will have the question: a company manufactures environmental sensors can be monitored remotely match each component of its definition. You can see in the components that are not components directly that you can find in Dynamics 365. But do not forget that Dynamics 365 is a SaaS solution integrated in Azure. So you will be able to connect any other project related in Azure, otherwise in Microsoft 365. So in this case, which component will be related to service for integration environmental sensor with Dynamics 365 customer service, which one is related to service for configuring integration, which one is related to rules that trigger an action, and which one is rules for action. So the answers are, the first one is you can relate it to IoT Hub. So you could have a little in this that when you see sensors, generally sensors are related to IoT. So with this definition, you already was able to think that first the choice could be Azure IoT Hub or Azure IoT Central. But integration environmental sensors, it's not automatic, so it's Azure IoT Hub, the service for configuring integration between the customer service app and environmental sensor. It's IoT Central because IoT Centrals give you a global solution to connect very easily your IoT to your solution in Azure or in Microsoft 365 or in Dynamics 365. The rules that trigger an action to the customer service app can be managed by Power Automate, and the rules and actions that execute the integration between environmental sensors and the customer service app can also be managed by Azure IoT Central. As you can see, we have 3 answers instead of the 4th component provided. That means that you're not obliged to use each component. Sometimes you can have one component right for both answers, and that's the case in this example. So don't think that you have 4 answers, 4 components, so you have to put one in each, and you can't put two times once. So that is one example. And but even if you don't answer one, you won't have a repeat negative point, so you will have 0 point. And each good answer gives you 1 point, and each non-response or false response give you 0 point in the exam. So the last the last part of the exam is the shared features. It's more generally how you connect the Dynamics 365 with other products in Microsoft 365. So it could be Excel, Power BI, Teams, and so on, and also the Power Platform capabilities. I don't have any example of this because we don't have very much time to see all example of questions. But later in this presentation, I will give you 2 links of websites where you can have free example of question of or exams. So the second certification is the MB920, which is for the ERP, about enterprise resource management. And in this, you will have the supply chain management part of Dynamics 365. So it's a pretty huge part of this exam because it's 25 or 30%, almost 30% of the exams. And this part is very, very
sorry.
Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm continuing. In this part, you will have a very heavy part of the project, because the Dynamics 365 supply chain management have several capabilities. But you will have to identify general capabilities, so it's global. And I advise you to make a focus on the warehouse and inventory management capabilities, such as the LIFO or FIFO, because a lot of questions are about that. So this is my advice at present, but you have to know that the question of the exam are very often are changes very often, and sometimes maybe each 2 or 3 weeks. But there's a global question or global mindset of this question. So sometimes the question is not exactly the same, but you can if you saw some old question, you will be able to understand what is the mindset of the question, and you will be able to answer. So in the supply chain management, you will also have to describe the manufacturing strategy, and which has how to order, how to store your politic of storage, and how to configure your order. And generally, you have some capabilities with Power Platform and Power Automate in order to automatize this kind of strategy, and in order to make easy the work of your management force. The sample of question for supply chain management. This is a hotspot question. So the company plans to implement asset management. Our assets are single level object. You cannot create sub assets. So you have to answer if it's right or if it's wrong. You can describe location and assign asset to location for tracking purpose. So you can say so. So the right answer are you cannot. So as you can create sub asset, you have to answer no when in the answer they say you cannot. Okay, so negative plus negative make a positive. So that is a tricky question, because sometimes you have to be very careful about what you're reading. If in the answer is you cannot, that means that in the project it's not possible. But if it's possible, and it's in this example it's possible, you can create some asset. So you have to eliminate the negative by another negative. So when in the answer they say you cannot create sub asset, you say no, because you can create the sub asset. That is this kind of tricky question that you can have in the exam. So that's why I put it this example, just in order to be careful. So don't read too quickly the answer, and if in your mind you say yes I can, so generally if you go too quick, you're going to put yes. But if you pay attention of the proposition, it was you cannot create sub asset, so you have to put no. That's why. And the other one, that's not a tricky question. You can define a location and assign asset for a location. Yes, you can do it. So that's why the right answer is yes. Second part of this certification, it's about dynamic finance. Generally, in big companies, finance and supply chain are not in the same service, and are not they don't have the same goal, but this is the same exam, and this is I repeat, it is for global knowledges about the product. So you will have to be able to describe the finance features and the general ledger about how to chart the account or the financial dimension or subconcept or describe the periodic financial process. I'm pretty aware that people responsible about supply chain are generally not focusing about the periodic financial process, but another time, it's really for global knowledges and fundamentals knowledges. We don't want to check if you are financial people, even if you are supply chain. How to describe the account payable and account receivable and the related finance component, because everything is related in order, and you have to be able to describe and to be aware about the whole process of the sales from the order to the sales to the delivery. Sample of question about that is: a company use Dynamics 365 Finance? Instruction are the same, if yes, if not. So you can use a purchase order or return previously purchased. And so is that yes or no? And you can create a payment proposal to select a set of invoices to pay a payment batch, yes or no. As the both statements are affirmative, you don't have to be to be afraid about a tricky question. You just pay attention when the statement is negative. So the right answers are yes in the both cases. Third part of Dynamics 365 is about commerce. It's not a very big part of these exams because it's more in the other exams in the CRM, the Dynamics 365 CRM exams. That's why that's not a very big part, but you will have to be aware about how to manage a point of sales and how to manage a distributed order and everything about that. Also about the fraud detection, which it's a module related to the payment. So it's related to commerce, and in the fraud detection, you can also enrich it with AI in order to be able to detect automatically the fraud as a false credit card number, or sometimes could be a payment send it directly from a bank which that does not exist, or something like that. Sample of question about Dynamics 365 Commerce could be: some product must only be available in specific physical store due to product weight and physical measurement, and you need to recommend a solution to meet the requirements. So which kind of solution are you going to advise to your company or to your customer if you're a consultant? So the right answer is a product assortment to restrict the products that are available in each physical location. That is logical, because you won't change the storage of your product each time you're going to make some promotions. So promotion can be related to the physical store. And the project dimension, sometimes that could be if you have very big project. So it could there could be related to physical store because your stores are going to be bigger than others. But with a product assortment, you can manage also the dimension, because if you create a category of sofa or furniture, that could be more that could be bigger product rather than if you have a category for sometime office furniture or something like that. So that's why the product dimension could be managed by product assortment. The last, this is not the last, but the following part of the exam are not not are important about the in the work dimension, but in the exam they are not a heavy point on the note of the exam. So this is the human resources. You will have to be able to describe the compensation and benefits capabilities, the personal management capabilities. Be aware that in the Dynamics 365 human resources, you also be able to manage your employee training and certification features. And from few months now, Microsoft launches Cortana to manage the training of your employees. That's not the same product. So be aware that in the exam, that are the capabilities offered by the Dynamics 365 human resource about the training and certification path of each of your employees. Describe the operation. That is a part that it's more heavy in the first exam, but you have to have general knowledge about that, about the task, the subtask, and also the expenses cost. And you also have, like in the first exam, the MB 390. You have the describe feature about how to rate it with Excel, Power BI, Teams, SharePoint, and so on. So how to prepare your exam? So you have a special path of in MS Learn for Dynamics 365. I'm going to share my presentation at the end of this session or of the day, and because there's some dynamic links in my presentation, so you will be able to click and find directly the URL. So you have a special post in Dynamics 365 in MS Learn, so where you can find also the video from an event like Ignite. But you have some special posts for to prepare your exam. For the MB 910, you have, when you click on online free, you will have some several modules in MS Learn. So I give you the URL for that. You will have the same for the MB 920. And each time you have to click on online free. With if you click on instructor late pay, you're going to be forwarded to some Microsoft partners training or some other training, but it's not free. So the golden rules to prepare exam. It's be active, don't be passive. That means when you see the Microsoft the MS Learn module, sometimes you have some exercise to do. Do it. This is my advice. Don't read the exercise. Don't follow the module of MS Learn like if it's a video or if it's a TV show. You each time you have to be active. Be active. Each time you have to fill an exercise. Each time you have to make a lab. Do it. That's not that you won't have to do any lab during the exam, but if you did some, it will be easier for you to answer because you had some practice, but if you you take the exam and you already used to use Dynamics 365 every day in your work, maybe it's enough. But you will have to understand what is the mindset of the exam. Sometimes Microsoft, if you click on the website of Microsoft Events, you will have some free webinars. So if you have time, follow some of them, but be prepared for these webinars. And why? Because most of time in the webinars, there's not only a replay, and you will be able to ask questions and to have direct answers for moderators, or sometimes by the trainer directly. So that's why you have to be prepared for webinars, because if you are connected to a webinar and if it's something that you already learned by yourself, you could have some question, and so you will have the opportunity to ask your question during the webinar. Because when you prepare your exam by yourself with MS Learn, you're going to be alone, and if you have any question, sometimes you won't have anybody to answer to your question. So that's why it's important when you connect to the webinars to be prepared, and do not be afraid to ask any question, even if it's not a point in which was in the webinar, but if it's related to the subject, do not hesitate to ask any question about it. The last advice is practice, 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 and once again, even if it's not required in the exam, because this is the only way to understand how the project is working. The learning method. So you have to be aware what is the best learning method for you, because sometimes people are more efficient to keep information when it's visual. Sometimes it's when you hear the information, and sometimes you need to have a mix between the visual and your hearing. So, but generally you have visual memory or visual or a listening memory. So you have to be aware what is yours. So give you a website where you can find a free memory test, and you can just have that's 5-minute test. So it's not very, very scientific, but that could help you to have a beginning of the understanding of what kind of your memory is yours. Take notes even if during the MS Learn your MS Learn learning. Take notes or draw if you have a more visual memory. So don't be afraid to have your own notes, because at the end, when you will get in your notes, it will be a better reminder rather than to take again maybe 2 or 3 times the same module in the MS Learn. So, and if you took note during your MS Learn module and training, you will be able to put some questions in the side, and to have them in a trainer or in a moderator if you are connected in a webinar. Or sometimes even if you're not connected in a webinar, sometimes you could be able to ask to your colleague if you have some more experienced colleague around you. Read your note and then summarize them. Sometimes for my case, I used to create mind map in my note. It's helped me to have a global vision of the project, of what I learned, of the trainings that I just took. But each time it's a way to be active in your learning path. The practice test. There's a lot of practice tests available on the website. You can have some free, some of them are you have to pay for some of them, but each time you have to do your test honestly. Nobody is going to judge you because this is your test, and you don't have to share the result of your test. So when this is a practice test, do not answer randomly. Maybe in the exam you're going to do it. Okay, you can take your chance, but not during the practice test, because it's going to create some false positive, and you will be sometimes you will think that you're ready in some of these points, but you're not, because you answered randomly and you had some luck at this time. So when you answer honestly in your test, you will be able to find what are your weaknesses. You will be able to find what are your strengths, but also your weakness. And what is important when you know your weakness is that these are the points that you have to work again on them. So go back to your note, check the point relative to your weakness, and work again on them. And take again a test, a new one if you have new one, but you have to be aware that sometimes in the website you will be able to have some something like 60 to 100 or more than 100 questions, and in the exam you're going to have only between 30 and 50 questions. So you generally in the test you're going to have more questions rather than in the exam. So do again the test, and check again what are, if your weakness are still weakness, or if now you're ready in this point, and check again your progression. So I'm going to give you two websites that I really like because they are free practice tests. That's examtopics.com and examlabs.com. Generally, they are really up to date on the exam, so you don't have to pay for this kind of exam, because I tested for you, I paid some, and I have no more question rather than in this free practice test website. So keep your money for you, and just see the free practice tests like that. If you want, or if you have the opportunity to have official practice tests, the both one who are official for Microsoft are measurup.com and gmetrics.net. Don't know really the difference between both of them. Measurup.com is generally the one which is related to the Pearson's interface, and gmetrics.net, it's one that I had access with Microsoft friends, but I don't know if in the other part of the world Gmetrics it's also good or not. But Measurup is the most famous, and with the Pearson's through the Pearson's interface, or periodically you can have some discounts if you want to have this kind of official practice test. Some of them are not better than the free one, but they are up to date. So sometimes in the free websites, the practice test could be old, but in Measurup or Gmetrics, that should be the last one, the up-to-date practice tests. So to going further, you have some challenge. So you have just 1 week for the 30 days to learn it, and you're going to get 50% off on eligible exams. And you can also have a look on the blog MS Learn. Generally, in new certification, you can access to beta version, and in this case, you're going to have a 50% off discount of the beta version. Be aware when you take a certification as beta, you're not going, because it's beta, you're not going to have a practice test because it's a totally new certification. And when you pass your certification, you're not going to have the result at the end of the exam, like in the other in the general exams. You're going to have your results maybe between 2 or 3 weeks, and sometimes till 1 or 2 months later than you get the exam. So just be aware when you take a beta version, if you really need the certification quickly for an employer, for a new job or something like that, don't take any beta version, because you won't have the result very quickly. So thank you very much. Do not hesitate if you have any question. I can be reached through the social network as LinkedIn or Twitter. And if you have any question, I think we've got 5 minutes left or something like that.
Thank you very much, Estelle. So I can't see any questions in the chat. Does anybody have any questions? Please raise your hand.
What is PASS?
Hello there, Shushut. You want links, right, to the pass, is that correct?
Thank you, Arno. That was a lot of content in only 1 hour, so sorry if I was too quick, but that's why I'm going to share my presentation.
And Estelle, will you be sharing your presentation in the chat?
Okay.
Maybe provide a link, I guess, to the presentation.
Yes, I'm going. I'm going to share a link in order to you to get the presentation, and do not hesitate, because that was the end of the fiscal year for Microsoft. I'm going to have the new calendar for the next session of preparation of exams. So for the MB 901, that were some webinar who was eligible for a free voucher for the exam. At the end of the year, during May and June, we didn't have any kind of webinar like that. But I hope that during August of September, from August of September, for the new webinar series, Microsoft is going to give some voucher for this kind of certifications. I'm going to ask for to Microsoft Corp if that could be a possibility. So do not hesitate to keep in touch, and as soon as I get if I got some special opportunities to get a free voucher for this kind of exam, I'm going to share the information.
Great stuff. So Kelvin has a question.
Yeah.
He's asking, so quick question, in order to get the MB 910,
yeah,
do we have to pass 900 first?
No, because 900 is not available, and 901 it's going to be deprecated at the end of the month. So you can pass it if you already prepared the 901, you can pass it till June 30th. But from 1st July, you will have to pass the Dynamics CRM or Dynamics ERP.
There you go, Kelvin.
You just have but as it's only 1 week left, it will depend of the availability slot on the Pearson website or on your local exam if you already have some open local exam. And but because of the pandemic, a lot of certification you have to take them by remote through Pearson's, and the availability, the slot availabilities are very, very tricky to have. So and then this is so 101 901 you can still pass it till June 30. And it's going to have some importance. You're going to have the certification with Microsoft, but till next week it's going to be 910 and 910 and 920.
So for the benefit of the people who have just joined us or are generally new to Microsoft certification, this exam that Estelle has covered is a very broad exam. It does cover a lot of modules. So please bear that in mind. I know Estelle had only, an hour to try and attempt to go through that. I have taken a whole day to try and cover the content for this exam, because it does cover so many different modules at a very high level. So just a reminder, guys, that often this exam is covering usually industries that you're probably not normally familiar with, like finance, for example, and vice versa. Would you agree, Estelle?
Yeah, that's what I tried to explain during my presentation, that if you are a supply chain worker, you have sometimes no knowledge about financial or human resources, but in the exam you need to have some fundamental knowledges about that. That's why it's so tricky, and I think that is the explanation why Microsoft split once again the exam to certification, in order to be more focused for the commercial task force, and the other for the management. So 910 it's for commercial task force, and 920 it's for the management. If you have to choose, if you can't pass both exams, just be aware that if you're more commercial, the 910 is going to be more useful for you. And if you are a manager, if you are a C-level, the 920 is going to be more efficient for you. But if you can pass both, that's always better.
Well, that's really great, Estelle. So any more questions? We've got a few more minutes left. Well, we have Estelle all the way from France joining us today. But remember, Estelle, are you able to share your contact details as well, please?
Yeah, I'm going to put all my contacts are in my presentation that I'm going to share through a link, and I'm going to put it in the website too.
Excellent, fantastic. Okay, so for many of you who are maybe new to sitting your exams, I think this session was very, very helpful. I have to agree with you, Estelle, that the biggest challenge I find in exams, in Microsoft exams, is the way they phrase their questions. And I think you did a good job of explaining those particular challenges for exam sitters. So thanks for that. And Cheryl, oh, hi, Cheryl. So Cheryl's also left a message. MB901 used to cover customer engagement and FinOps, and it was huge. That has now been split out into 910 and 920, as you mentioned, Estelle. Yeah. So thanks, Cheryl, for reaffirming that. And that's an important message that I think needs to come out of this for people who want to understand where they should begin. As Estelle mentioned, it may be that 900 is just way too broad for you, and it may be that you might want to do one of the others instead. And so I think the guidance has been set whether you should do 910 or 920 based on your industry background. So that's great. That's fantastic. Okay, well, last few minutes. Any other questions for Estelle for the last few minutes? Estelle will be sharing a link in the chat.
Yeah, and do not hesitate if you have any question in the future, because I know that I gave you a lot of information and you're going to have a very busy day with a lot of amazing sessions. So do not hesitate in the following weeks or days. If you have any question, I will be happy to help you if I can.
Fantastic. Excellent, Estelle. So there you go. So Estelle will be sharing those details. We do hold full day boot camps as well on some of these exams. So last year we did hold a boot camp, a whole day Saturday workshop on 900, right? So we did have a workshop on 900 as well as AZ 900 as well. So if anyone is interested in attending those workshops to do a more of a full day focused, feel free to leave a comment in the chat, just so we can understand the numbers of people who would be interested in attending one of those kind of, workshops on a Saturday. So anyone who is interested, just mention which one it is. So in this particular case, Estelle has been covering the Dynamics 900. So you can mention that. So please drop that in. I see Amon. Amon's a very experienced consultant. That's probably a bit high level for you, Amon. I know you've been doing things, a lot of the exams. You may want to tackle an exam that's more specific to a module than a very high level exam. But again, it may be just a certificate that you want under your belt. So it seems though people are interested in 910. Okay, focus on the customer engagement side. So please mention the exams, guys, that you're interested in. Is it the 900? Is it the 910? Is it the 920? Please just drop that in the chat, and I'm sure we will have something coming up towards the end of this year. We tend to have these towards the end of the year, around December time. We'll have a boot camp on the 900, but in this case, it might be one of those, 910 and 920. And we also have one on Azure as well. And maybe one on Power Platform. I know, Estelle, you were part of Julian's bootcamp where they covered the Power Platform 900 exams. So that's already been completed. But in December, we will be having some of these boot camps, a full day boot camp to try and cover more ground. But I think Estelle's done a fantastic job to give you a great idea on how to prepare and sit that exam. So thank you once again, Estelle, for joining us today and kicking off the Dynamics 365 Bootcamp for us.
You're welcome, and thanks for this opportunity.
Fantastic. So that was Estelle, guys. So Estelle will be sharing the presentation. Don't worry, she will be sharing the link in the chat shortly. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Estelle, so much for your generosity, French generosity. Thank you so much. So that was Estelle from France. Excellent. Regional Director for Microsoft, doing some fantastic work for the community. Okay, so everyone has added the which workshop you want to attend in December. Okay, great. Everyone who enters either 910 or 920, that's going to help us to know which one we should prepare. It may be both, possibly. It will be around December time, okay? However, we need to just gauge the interest. So everyone who's left a message in the chat, that's really, really helpful. That's going to help us to understand which one we should plan for the end of the year. Excellent. Okay, so thank you everyone who's been answering. That's helping us to. It seems to be quite an equal split, to be honest. 920 and 910. There seems to be quite an equal split between the two, which is fine. Which is fair enough. We can do that. It's not a problem whatsoever. Excellent, guys. Okay, excellent. That's fantastic. So now we're on the hour, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, and we have none other than Nicholas Fernandez. Now, Nicholas Fernandez. I've known Nicholas for a few years now. He's a Microsoft MVP. He does many things for the Spanish-speaking community. He's a